Hello, my Malcolm family. Welcome once again to our Malcolm Make a Culture Move podcast, where we cover everything from intense social topics to funny social trends. We are your host, Mark Jonathan,
Sister Ryan.
G.
and as always, we have this amazing podcast for y'all today. But before we get started, we have our disclaimer.
So we do cover a lot of controversial issues here at the Macam podcast, and we just want to let you know that these opinions and views do not reflect Macam as a whole. So we hope that you keep that in mind as we dive into our podcast this here morning, afternoon, noon, evening time.
Absolutely. So, with that being said, we're gonna kick off today's podcast with G. G, what you got for us today?
Okay, so we can dive right into my first article dealing with
Oh, wait. I'm sorry. Hold on 1 second. We have a special day today. Matter of fact, you feel me?
it is a holiday.
It is. Happy birthday. Happy
Thank
G.
you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Appreciate it.
Indeed.
I don't celebrate birthdays.
Oh, yeah. But with that
Didn't need the commentary.
Okay, I added in there because mine passed and I ain't say nothing. I
You
took
don't
out.
celebrate, so
Mhm.
no
And I'm
point to say
celebrating
anything if you don't celebrate.
Yeah.
other people.
I can't do that either. My sisters be calling me up like, nah. Anyway, um,
With that being said,
that is just like,
Right. What do I have? Sorry, the unneeded commentary threw me off. Child support. So yeah, we can dive right into this article. This Black author. Okay, Black author exposes truth, lies, and biases of the U.S. child support system.
okay,
Author Kenya Rahman has spent thorough time examining the flaws of the American child support system and how it has developed into a tool of division. In her book, The Child Support Hustle, she goes into a detailed analysis of how the child support system has alienated fathers from their children while amassing profit for the state.
Okay, keep going down.
Yes. Okay, so let's see. As of 2019, the Office of Child Support Enforcement reported that the national average for the return on investment for every dollar spent on child support programs was $5.06. Some states have reported in the double digits. For example, Texas and South Dakota reported of ROI of 1181 and 1168 respectively during FY 2019. For the sake of making money, the government purposely and unapologetically began to villainize fathers to maintain a structure based on misinformation. Children are wrongfully counted as fatherless, which increases the child support caseloads, thus increasing ROI. When children are born to unmarried parents, no matter what their race, color, or creed, without legal paternity establishment, the father has no legal rights to his children. States began rolling out the paternity establishment agenda when the information of welfare and child support occurred in 1994. The Clinton administration, along with the bipartisan support, passed the most comprehensive welfare bill to date. These changes ramped up the already established child support system, along with paternity establishment being the forefront of the changes came the mandate that any mother receiving former aid to families and dependent children, now temporary and dependent children, must cooperate with child support enforcement. So we could close out of this. I wanted to bring this up because, like, recently I had got into like a little argument with a friend because he said like he just, felt like he was ready to get the next girl he had sex pregnant with, and one on top of the argument being it was a white girl. that was, a part of the argument. But two, just deciding that he was just ready to get the next girl he had sex with pregnant. That is what is wrong with our generation. And a lot of people don't understand that when the court gets involved in your parenting, they are forever involved in your parenting, and those, you have certain rights that are taken away. And the court system, from coast to coast, gives mothers immediate legal responsibility to the child. She carried the child, that is her child. Courts do not look at fathers as a priority. And that is the problem, because our fathers are priorities. Our fathers are important to have in our children's lives. Both parents are essential. You shouldn't have one without the other. You should have both parents in the home. And when the courts get involved in that, they're forever involved in that. And now it's up to them how often a father can see their child, whether this man is a good father or not. It doesn't matter. It absolutely does not matter if this man is a good man or not. If the courts feel that you should pay a certain amount, or you can only see your child on weekends or every other week or only for holidays, then that's what the court decides, and you have to amend by their rules. Now, outside of that, depending on what both parents do, if you guys come to an agreement and on good terms, then that's different, and you have your terms. But when the courts are involved, if you break any of those terms and one parent goes to the courts and says, well, this didn't happen, now legal actions have to be taken. If you don't pay your child support, you go to jail. So I don't know. It's a big thing that's wrong with our generation. You can't just go out and have babies. You can't just feel like you want to get whoever you have sex with pregnant, the next person you have sex with pregnant, just because you feel like it's your time. Like, if you feel like it's your time, then find somebody to be in a relationship with. Get to know that person, love that person, build to want to marry that person, and then have children with that person. So that way you don't ever have to worry about child support. I feel like parents shouldn't have to worry about child support. And most of the time it's fathers. Most of the time our black our black children are being labeled as fatherless, because that is how the courts has labeled them. When that's not the case. Like, we have black fathers that are trying, but the child support system is what holds them back so heavily, because if they can't pay it, they will go to jail for it. And now you have a black father that's in jail and can't provide for their child at all, even if they were or was trying to. Do y'all have anything to say on that?
Just from like a little bit of personal experience, I've seen how like things like CPS, that's child
Mm-hmm.
specific. Like
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna I won't say names, but like I've seen watch how like an incident happened to a child, and then the CPS just like tear up their lives, like, and now the father can't uh, be alone with the kids, so now the mother has to take off from work. Um, I've just seen it all, like going through slander. I think one of the biggest things is, in most cases, to like um, stop all like the court systems and all that. Like, they had to plead guilty to often something that they didn't do. Like, I had a friend. He had to literally plead guilty to potentially hurting his son, but his son just fell, and they couldn't. They had no evidence to prove otherwise, so they assumed the worst out of him. Like, and just the fact that he had to go through a year of saying that he didn't do that, just to, and at the end just be like, okay, fine, I want to be able to be with my family. So he had to plead guilty to something he didn't do. Like, CPS is just, it's crazy how they operate. Crazy how they operate.
It is crazy. And I do want to say this. CPS, not CPS, child support was something that I feel like for some parents, it does need to be put into place. For instance, for my father, he was never an active person in my life. And this is kind of going to like a personal benefit of how I could see not CPS, child support can work in someone's life. It would just be random. My mom would check her child support card and there'll be money on there. And because my mom was a single parent, she was doing it all by herself. And it was hard for her. I seen her go through it. So, I mean, I think, and kind of not trying to throw shade at my mom, rest in peace, mom, or whatever. But she should have made better choices when it came to the men that she was laying down with. You knew this nigga wasn't nothing ish. When you laid down with him from the jump street, you knew that he was potentially going to be a baby daddy. You knew that when you didn't marry him, you knew that when you, I don't know, it's something that we as women should know before we open our legs. That's the thing. Like, we should know that. We should know that. So we got to take accountability too. And we need to stop having baby mamas. Because when a man should know when a woman is not, I'm not gonna say the word ish. They should know that. You know that somebody, when they live that ghetto lifestyle and they're already on Section 8 food stamps. They got all this government assistance that says that I really don't need a man. They're Miss Independent and all this other stuff, but they refuse to recognize or think that they need a man. When in reality, we're the Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. We're the only people that say I don't need a man, when everybody else knows that they need a man. You always see the white man and the white woman, the Asian man, Asian woman together with their significant other with their kids. So it just hurts. It just hurts to see. And you gotta take care of your kids on your own. There's a system in place to do it. And some women live off of child support. They don't even have another job. That's like their primary source of income.
That's a fact.
So that's that baby mama.
And that's the mentality is some people are so complacent to even allow that lifestyle to take place in their lives. Like, they get comfortable in it, they're okay with it, it's they're used to it, they don't, because they're living off of this money, they're not gonna work, they don't want to work, they're not gonna ever be responsible for themselves because they are living off of this money, and they don't care. They don't care. Even like, they do not care. And I don't know. In some cases, child support is needed if both, like in cases of divorce, y'all are splitting up, you still have those children to take care of, something needs to be taken in place. And that happens when you go through a divorce in court systems. The courts are going to automatically it's going to be mandatory that they put a child support order in place, whether it's for the mother or the father, depending on whoever has the sole custody of the children. And I'm also going to say that I don't believe that all mothers deserve full custody of their children at all. Not all mothers, not all women are fit to be moms. Like, just because you carried that baby doesn't mean you're doing right by it. And there's a lot of men out here who are dumb enough to have babies by just anybody, and it's not fair to the children. You have to think about what kind of woman do you want to be the mother of your child? What kind of man do you want to be the father of your child? Like, what kind of person are you looking for? That, like, and so you have to be careful of who it is you decide to lay down with and take those steps with. And in our generation, you see a lot of people doing it with just anybody. Y'all don't even be knowing each other for more than 3 months before y'all are having kids together and trying to build broken families. And it's a lot of broken families already, like, starting off. Like, that shit's not fair to the kids.
Right.
Especially unprotected. It don't make sense.
Condoms break, so I don't even think protection is protection. The best protection is, and wait. What's so hard about waiting?
Some people don't have that willpower. It's not realistic.
It's realistic for me. I've been going.
That's your reality. Everybody's reality isn't the same. So when talking to a whole group of individuals, you have to speak to their reality. And what the main majority reality is that most people are not waiting until marriage.
I think it's the media.
The media has a whole lot to do with it.
It was encouraged through, like, stuff I watched and listened to.
Absolutely. So, but we can segue into the video. Oh, go ahead, Mark.
I don't know. I mean, it's good.
It's good. We're gonna keep around that hour. Yeah.
I'll segue into this YouTube video.
I'm trying to wait for it to load. The internet today is just
Overpaying for options isn't an option.
They don't even see the ad. Any ad that you do see, we do not support it. This does not represent Malcolm at all. And you want to start at 2 minutes and 30 seconds?
Yeah, we don't have to watch the whole thing.
Oh shoot, 2 minutes. 2 minutes. 30 seconds. Hold on. But just to kind of, feel the negative space or the space where we're not talking, it's crazy. This is a whole career for some people just to have kids and
Just to have kids.
money. Yeah, here we go. Oh shoot, hold up. I gotta fix something for y'all. Yeah, share screen.
So with that being said, are you guys opposed to a prenup?
No.
No.
I'm very supportive of the prenuptial agreement.
My man got it yell, man. I already know.
You don't know.
I'm gonna want my husband to sign one. So
he's like, absolutely not.
But I did. He gave me allowance. Me and my sister, we knew how to do that stuff. So he was either a contractor or he'd have some type of corporate kind of job. But what messed him up is child support. There's a message for all you young boys out there. Child support is not where it's at because they will take everything that you have and they don't care. And the money will keep piling up and you will hardly ever be able to pay it back or you end up in jail. So which one is it going to be? But my dad, they was taking heavy child support from him, but his daughter was in New York. So I'm not sure how it was hard for him to go down there and to adjust it. So he just wasn't able to make enough money because every time he make money, it's like the child support chunk would just eat it.
Mm-hmm.
That's a fact. And they take their money first. As soon as you get your check, they will come get theirs.
they will garnish your check for that child support. They don't care if you have money to pay for anything else. They will garnish that check for the child support. And you think about it. Yeah, right. You feel me? It's child support. It's money for the child to support the child and what the child needs, right? But then you look at a lot of the women who are on child support. And it's like, how many of y'all are really using that child support money for your child? Like, how many of y'all are using that child support money for your child, right?
Exactly.
Right.
Like that's where that part comes into. That's why it's very important to be careful on who you have kids with. Period. It's that simple. Know people before you just have kids with them, which I know people change over time and stuff like that. That's a different thing. But you just know people before you have kids with them because that money does pile up if you're not, working a job that's paying you enough to do your child support and live your life. That's why sometimes a lot of dudes fall back to the streets because that's that fast money where they can supply the rest of their life and the child support. But I don't know. I just see a lot of women where they're so comfortable living that life on that child support, but how much of that money is really going toward the kids? Are you really spending that money on the bills so that y'all can have a roof over y'all's heads, lights, so that your child can have clothes and food? Like, how much of that is going towards your child and how much of that is going towards your personal needs? You shouldn't be using your child support money to get your hair done. You shouldn't be using the child support money to get your nails done. You shouldn't be using the child support money to buy you new clothes. It's not for you in any way or form, except for if it's going towards bills, because the children are invoked in with the bills and whatever the children need. You spend that money on the kids, and oftentimes you don't see that happening. And it's some cases where it is happening because you have those women with high integrity that are doing what they're supposed to do with their child support money, but then you have that percentage that's not. So my message to the fellas out there having kids or thinking about having kids, know who you're having a child with. Like, ladies, don't just let any dude give you a baby, and dudes don't just give any woman a baby. Like, it goes both ways.
Right.
Hey, you pretty much said it all. Please get to know her at the very least.
At the very least. But that's all I had today.
All right.
I know situations where they getting to know each other through the 9 months of pregnancy. Like I'm just like come on now. But yeah, please segue.
All right. So I guess I'm up next.
What you got for us today?
So I was looking online last night on like items that are collected, racist items that are collected. And I think that that's a weird thing to hoard. I know Nat Turner's skin, like his actual skin was made into a purse, and it was on the black web, and it went for a lot of money. Just the skin of Nat Turner, who was and is a revolutionary in the black community. So I got this article, and I'm just gonna go ahead and share my screen.
These people ain't even hiding the fact they racist.
No, because there's no. I'm not even gonna say that. Anyway, you see who's there looking at the items. Okay, the garbage man. Why I collect racist objects. Okay.
He calls himself the garbage man.
Yeah, the garbage man.
Wow.
And this is the Jim Crow Museum. I've never heard of this museum. I'm gonna check this museum out.
Wow.
But it says, I'm a garbage collector, racist garbage. For 3 decades, I have collected items that defame and belittle Africans and their American descendants. I have a parlor game, 72 pictured party stunts from the 1930s. One of the game cards instructs players to grow through the motions of a colored boy eating watermelon. The card shows a dark black boy with bulging eyes and blood red lips, eating a watermelon as large as he is. The card offends me, but I collect it, and 4,000 similar items that portray blacks as coons, toms, sambos, mammies, pickaninnies. I've never heard of that. And other dehumanizing racial caricatures. I collect this garbage because I believe and know to be true that items of intolerance can be used to teach tolerance. I don't know about that. But look at this. That's Ain't Your Mama. Ain't Your Mama. And it's crazy because that name came from the Bible. But I bought my first racist item when I was 12 or 13. My memory of that event is not perfect. It was the early 1970s in Mobile, Alabama. I used to live in Alabama, the home of my youth. The item was small, probably a Mammy salt shaker. It must have been cheap because I had never had much money. And it must have been ugly because after I paid the dealer, I threw the item to the ground and shattered it. It was not a political art. I simply hated it. If you can hate an object, I do not know if it scolded me. He almost certainly did. I was what folks in Mobile, blacks and whites, indelicately referred to as a red nigger. Oh my God. In those days, in that place, he could have thrown that name at me without incident. Okay, incident. I do not remember what he called me, but I am certain he called me something other than David Pilgrim. Okay, so I just kind of want to go through these pictures. This is a little black boy drinking ink out of a straw. Nigger milk is what it says. That's yeah. And then there's a barrel. I don't know if you guys know about that. Like, black people couldn't laugh out loud back in the day. So they had barrels for black people to actually laugh in. I just think that that's crazy. And then there's this one, which is kind of like blackface, I guess. I don't know if anybody knows anything about that. Here I Stand. That's a book. Get a fist. I don't know. Fist. And then like he just collects a bunch of like racist items. Like, back in the day, even with blackface, they used to cover their face in like black paint and like put put that red lipstick all around their mouth. The Turner Diaries, Nat Turner actually went and like killed a bunch of white people in their houses when they were asleep. He was like kind of like a, and these in today's terms, he would be, huh? He in today's terms, he would have been quote unquote a serial killer. But like, look at these black boys, these black babies. They said for alligator bait, which is also how they caught alligators to make alligator skin boots and things like that. We march for class citizenship now. Okay, we've been marching for I don't know how long and nothing has changed. Booty call. I know people have seen that movie, but yeah, crazy. But these are actually made out of human skin. This is like a it's like Monopoly, but like I don't know. It's called Ghetto Poly. Ghetto Poly. Ghetto Poly. So the list goes on and on, but I just wanted to bring that up because I didn't know anything about the Jim Crow Museum. And I think when it comes to Black history and things that we should know about, we don't know about them because they're not readily available for the public to see. And I want to apologize for my horrible reading. I'm not the best reader in the world. I try, but I be getting nervous on this podcast. Anyway, but yeah, I don't know.
You're a perfect reader. With that being said, and it's just crazy to see. I don't know if me personally, if I could collect those type of things. Um, at the same, I've never heard of a Jim Crow museum either. Um, what else did I want to say? Oh yeah, I don't think I could collect stuff like this just because I know how I am. Like stuff like that bothers me. But at the same time, I guess it's not necessarily a part of our history, but I could see why he collected them. Like he did it, like he purchased the one thing and then destroyed it right after. Like that was kind of, I don't know.
I don't know. I thought it was kind of stupid because, like, why spend your money? I mean, I'm sure he bought it from a white store. Like, it wasn't in like a black-owned store, nothing like that. I'm sure. So you spent your money and you gave your money to these white people for this coonery object just to break it. I don't know. It was kind of weird to me, but I don't know. I don't know. I'm trying to like see like where he's going with this, but and I guess maybe we'd rather those type of items be in our possession than white people's possessions, but there's just items that I feel like don't need to exist at all. Like just need to be completely destroyed and demolished and yeah, it's just such a negative part of our history and because objects like that still exist today, like there's white people who are still so comfortable in that mindset, I guess, of being able to treat us however they feel because those pieces are still available and out there. So yeah, I just think they need to be destroyed.
I disagree with that because I think that those pieces need to exist, and I'm glad that they're putting them at the forefront to get so that they could get the exposure that they need. Because what happens is when stuff like that is destroyed, a part of our history is destroyed, and we as a people will not recognize it because we don't even know that it exists. They're trying to take slavery out of the school curriculum so that and change the narrative to say that we were indentured servants here in the Americas. And that's not true at all. Slavery was a very real thing. And so when you change the narrative and you change history, which is literally his story, when you change the story, you change the identity. You change the identity of people. The thing is, when I go into this next piece, which is about trauma that has happened over generations, like post-traumatic slavery syndrome, we all suffer from it. It's trauma that's generational traumas. There's something that Native Americans believe in, which is called genetic memory. We remember our history through our genetics, and there's like slavery has like there's like a ancestry line, I guess, or it has like a legacy that we're currently living in that is affecting us even till this day. So I think that it's super important that we remember where we came from. And even with the racism, we need to remember what these people have done to us for hundreds and hundreds of years, us laughing into barrels, us not being able to walk on the same side of the street as them treating us as we're inferior than them for over 400 years.
So I guess what I meant to say is in the way that he's going about it, like in the Jim Crow Museum, like we have all of that, like in the National African American Museum that they opened up in DC. All of that history is there. So, and to have it in a Jim Crow Museum, I don't know, because all of that is to me, how it's being displayed and put out, it's glorifying it and praising it in a way that it shouldn't be. It's not reflecting our history in a way that it needs to be reflected, and not on the platform of what it is, the platform of how it's being presented. So, because we have that history in our museum that speaks directly to it and has the history behind it, those caricatures and all of those aspects on the appropriate platform. It's all about platform, and the platform that he's going about it is weird. It's completely weird.
I don't know. Again, I think that history is something that it's not a history that we should take pride in. And that's the thing. Like, we forget, like a lot of the museums that we do have, like the Martin Luther King Museum that's in Atlanta, it takes a lot of pride in us overcoming. We shall overcome. So that chant and that marching and stuff, but we still haven't overcame. We're still getting shot in the streets and stuff like that. So having that negative part of our history and the negative, tokens that he's putting out for everybody to see, I think that that's something that we need to see, because we're still going through the same stuff today. They're still making things like that of us. But the thing is, that ghetto poly game, that it didn't look that old to me. In that picture wasn't in black and white, it was in color. The color pictures didn't really happen until like the 60s or the 70s. So like, and that was not that long ago. That was like maybe like 50 years ago. So we're still living in very much still living in that same Jim Crow era. Michelle Alexander, she wrote a book called The New Jim Crow. We're still going through it till this day. So I think that, it's not a part of our history that we should take pride in, but it's a part of our history that we need to educate ourselves on and learn how they're, using certain information and misinformation that we have and don't have against us.
Like I said, it's about the platform that is presented on. So I just like the platform that he's presented on. It's kind of weird how he's going about it. I don't disagree that the history needs to be exposed, but I like the platform, the way you present things. It takes a very strong hold on how it's received, and so the platform that he's going about it is it's weird. Period. It's weird, the platform that he's going about. And like I said, we have that history presented in a way, or on a platform that speaks highly to our history, not taking away from all the points that need to be met to it. The trauma, the pain, the tragedy, all of that. We have a platform where it's being presented in a way where it's being received appropriately as well. So yeah, like I said, his platform is weird, and how he's presenting it, and the way you present things has a lot to do with how people receive things.
Right. All right, but I'm just gonna go ahead and segue into my next piece. And it's like basically about trauma. And I think that there's trauma behind all those pieces. And I was trying to kind of have a good coincidingness of like how those two like connect for people of color. So the legacy of trauma, context of the African American experience, and existence. I said, what did I say? Experience. Oh my gosh, existence. And this is from the psychotherapist. This is a psychotherapist and behavioral health consultant. And I'm not going to go over all this, but I will stop and say, what is trauma? A quick and dry, dirty definition: a deep emotional wound. Toxic stress come from toxic environments, which I really believe that, because a lot of our neighborhoods and things like that, we live in the hood, literally. And the hood is just a toxic environment where we're forced to make decisions that we know aren't going to help us or build us up as a people. But so this is the synaptic density pruning. It's a process of pruning. At age 14, you will notice that there are now fewer connections between the brain cells than there were at the age of 6. This is because of the least experienced connections tend to withdraw at about the time of puberty. So these are like the brain cells that we kind of develop, and because we don't use, because there's Dizzy Wright says something like we're not even allowed to use our whole brain. We're not at the age of 6. I think what happens is a lot of our ideals and what we think are possible, we start to develop those ideas. We start to learn. I think 6th grade is when you start to when you enter first grade or kindergarten, really. So I mean, we feel like, oh, we got the whole world ahead of us. But by the time we're 14 in middle school / high school, all those possibilities kind of drop because one, you go through, the caste system, which is put into place, which is the school to prison pipeline. And you kind of, those walls come crashing down on you. And I kind of wanted to touch on the toxic stress and the brain. So this is a PET scan of the brain, and this is the brain of a normal child, what is considered normal. You could see like the different temporal lobes in the brain, and this is the brain, the frontal lobe of a child that has trauma, as it says on the side. This PET scan of the brain, this is the PET scan of the brain of a Ramonian child. He's an orphan who was institutionalized shortly after he was born. This shows the effect of extensive deprivation in infancy. So that kind of just shows you, like, yes, the back of the brain looks semi-similar, but this is where like a lot of, your creative thinking, your memory, and things like that take place. And it says right here, children with damage to this part of the brain suffer severe emotional and cognitive problems, as well as have difficulty in making and or sustaining positive relationships. So I really wonder what a lot of our brains and our CAT scans would actually look like. And let me kind of go down. So historical trauma. So this is a group of slave children on board the Daphne, on the board of the Daphne. But yes. So historical trauma. History is not about the past, it's about the present. Historical trauma. Historical trauma is an example of intergenerational trauma. It's caused by events that trigger a group of people. Thus, even family members who have not directly experienced the trauma can feel the effects of the event generations later. Dr. Maria Yellowhorse Braveheart, PhD, conceptualized historical trauma in the 1980s as a way to develop stronger understanding of the way of why, for many Native Americans, is not fulfilling the American dream. PTSS, post-traumatic slavery syndrome, is a condition that exists as a consequence of centuries of chattel slavery followed by institutionalized racism and oppression, have resulted in multi-generational adaptive behavior, some positive, reflecting resilience, and others that are harmful and destructive. And that theory was brought by Dr. Joy DeGray. So, and she did this extensive research and studying for 12 years using quantitative and qualitative research. That's something we kind of learn in statistics, but yeah. American chattel slavery. Chattel slavery, personal property bought and sold as a commodity or like cattle. And we all kind of know what that is. Jim Crowism. You see, like how they're hanging people, lynching. This is kind of like a timeline. In 1865, the 13th Amendment slash slavery was abolished. Either slave, either I think that's supposed to say neither slavery nor involuntary servitude, except as a punishment for a crime. Thus, we have the whole mass incarceration thing. If you're punished for being punished for a crime or in jail and or prison, you are considered a modern day slave. Sharecropping attempted to reimpose a thinly disguised form of slavery. The Ku Klux Klan in 1866, lynching often included castration. So they would hang men up, cut their genitals off, and shove them in their mouth as they're dying, basically, so that they choke on their own genitals, which is pretty crazy. If you look at this dude on the floor, I'm pretty sure like he's about to get tied up, but he's already cut up and things like that. It's crazy. So 1822 to 1964, at least 4,742 in the southern states and 219 in the northern states. So I just kind of wanted to touch on that. They used to save and make bags and things like that out of African American folks' skin after they had died. Again, they castrated them, they cut their genitals off, and they would shove them in their mouth as they're hanging up on a tree. And that right there, like that skin, there was a book that was made out of skin, out of Nat Turner's skin. His skin is just all around. But this book has been passed down from generation to generation amongst these family members. So when people act like, oh, well, I had nothing to do with slavery. Okay, we really had nothing to do with slavery. We weren't in the slave fields, but like it says, there's multi-generational impacts and traumas from what we went through, whether we went through slavery ourselves or not. We're dealing with the oppression and the trauma from slavery. So I definitely wanted to kind of bring that out, to bring that historical piece, because that's probably the part of the podcast that I'll touch on the most. So,
I mean, wow. I think as far as the trauma aspect, some of it is probably like you can imagine some of it. You go through horrible experiences that's gonna mess up some of your connections later on in life. But I mean, I just had a lot of good information. The Jim Crowism to the whole trauma breakdown with the CAT scans, and that was good information.
For me, it just makes me think, where is, what multi generational trauma do white people face?
You know?
you're inflicting pain. You're not dealing with the pain itself. So
And that's why I always, say I'm a firm believer that they need to know what that pain is like. They need to immensely see what it would be like if the roles were switched and reversed. And I believe that. I believe that is like one way that would easily make white people feel our pain. It's kind of the only way to really make them feel our pain, to know what it's like to be in our shoes. Like, because one thing that we always talk about is breaking generational curses. Our generational curses don't start with just our grandparents. Our generational curses date all the way back to slavery. It's like the start of our generational curses. We're breaking those curses that we have to continue to break. That's our multi-generational trauma, that we're still trying to break those curses. And it's so many of them that we have to break. It's like we can only start with so many at a time. Like, we're not trying to battle one at a time. We're juggling maybe like 15, 20 different traumas at one time, that were in different curses that we're trying to break at one time. Yet we still have 100 more to break, but we can only tackle so many at a time. And it's just like, I don't know. It's so much trauma, so many curses that we have to uproot and overcome.
100%. But I guess we could go ahead and segue into my topic. So, upon reading this, I had seen this, I think, whether yesterday or 2 days ago. And it was titled, as you all are seeing, Biden cancel student loans immediately. Right? So, just looking forward into it, or looking more into it, I'm sorry. Just reading right there, it says Joe Biden is calling on Congress to cancel 10,000 of student loans immediately. Here's what you need to know. Biden is following through on a campaign proposal to cancel 10,000 of student loans. The president-elect wants Congress to cancel student loans debt immediately. Immediate 10,000 forgiveness of student loans, Biden said. They're having to make choices between paying their student loans and paying the rent. It should be done immediately. So this is just one of, I guess I just wanted to bring this to you all's attention because I don't know if 10K would help your student loans or anybody you know, but it would definitely help mine. I'm still deciding on if I want to continue school, what path I want, but I have friends that are in school, so this is still potential, but this is good to hear, and it's especially like with the thoughts of going back to school potentially or doing something of the sort. That sound good to me. What about y'all?
Yeah, no, it would definitely cancel my student loan debt. But crazy because I was gonna do this article and something told me like, nah, do something else. um, but yeah, no, I mean, I would commend Biden on doing it, but I'm not because this is something that you said that you were gonna do. So I'm not gonna give you cookies for something that you said that you were gonna do. You said you were gonna do it, hold strong to your word and do it. Period. Like that's really all it is. Like you made that promise a part of your campaign. I was running for president, so I mean, you really only had no choice but to come through on that promise some kind of way. Otherwise, everybody was gonna be coming for him. And that was one of the very first questions I was asked to Biden um after he was elected was so them student loans, like you said, you was going to cancel the debt. Are you canceling the debt? That's one of the main things that everybody was worried about when it came to Biden. So, I mean, I'm not surprised that it's taking place. 10,000 for some people is not a lot, but at least it's not. At least it's not nothing.
And I do want to say, okay, so I got through my whole undergraduate pretty much free up until a certain point because y'all, I had a warrant for my arrest and I had to pay that thing off. And that's kind of like, a little extra. Didn't really have to throw that information out there. But, I'm not perfect and I don't make the best decisions sometimes. But I definitely took out a student loan. And if he does that, like it would cancel all my student debt because I really didn't have any. So I'm like, that would help me. Would I get a refund check? Because that would definitely help me too for the stuff that's
Right.
Left over. And it would probably help people with going to graduate school because that's something that I also want to do, but it feels like it's damn near impossible because of how expensive it is. The higher you go in your education, the more expensive it is.
Cost. Yep.
That's why I'm a very big advocate for telling people to go to community college because not only is it pretty much free, but you get a big check back from financial aid, so definitely take advantage of all your resources and do not go straight into a 4-year college because for Black people, what happens is we talked about a predominantly white school and a predominantly Black school, which is your HBWs out here, historically Black.
HBCUs.
Damn. HBCUs, yes. Your
He's
HBCUs.
tired, y'all.
Yeah, I've had a night last night. I did not really get any sleep. But yes, just definitely take advantage of all your resources and do not collect debt because once you get into that debt ditch, it's hard to get out. It's hard to dig yourself out. Not only does this government and this system as a whole not give a damn about you because you're Black, but they will definitely do their best that they can to put you in a situation to where you either pay up or you go to jail, as G went over with the whole child support thing. And there was something that Gadiel had said that I kind of wanted to bring out a little bit. And I wanted to read it when G did hers, but I was trying to not run overtime. But it said I pay $1,200 a month for child support, and my rent is $2,000. So that leaves you with $800. On top of that, cover medical, dental, and life insurance. And she makes more money than me. Has a whole other child from another man, and he doesn't pay nothing. He ran to Mexico. LOL.
So that's my point when I say that the court system do not value fathers. Okay? The court systems do not value fathers. You could be a good man. You could be a good dude, but the court system, I'm not talking about people as individuals. I'm talking about the court system, okay? The system. They do not value fathers. They don't give a damn about black kids having their fathers in their lives. They don't care. Like that is my whole point with that one is the court system. Don't give a damn. They don't care if she is making more money. They don't care if she's a bad mother. They don't care if she does have another dude or another family. They don't value black men in general. For one, they don't value black men, and they damn for sure don't value black fathers. They don't care about black kids having their black fathers in their lives, and that's the court system.
Facts. But just to that point, he also said that the mother was making more than him. So that's
exactly even shit. Like you're making more money. Like you should be the one provide. Which they do the child support based off of who has sole custody of the child, right? But even if the mother has sole custody of the child, she's making more money. I shouldn't be giving majority of my income for child support. What kind of sense does that make? Make it make sense. Like it doesn't even make sense. Like you're making the majority of the money, but I have to give majority of my check and my income and still be looked at as a deadbeat. Like what? The system, y'all. It's rigged against.
But for our last topic today, we got something rather interesting and unfortunate. So as you guys see on the screen, the title says, "For Black workers, an unwelcome workplace focused on their hair." Right. So preschool teacher Devin Marshall came to work one morning with her hair in tightly curled strands that fell down the side of her face toward her shoulders. Shortly after arriving, Marshall was called into her supervisor's office. It was brought to my attention that your hair was too extravagant for the workplace. Marshall recalled her supervisor saying, she said, if you could just tone it down, and suggested it be put in a ponytail.
What?
Marshall, who is 35 and lives in Los Angeles, California, said the 2000 incident felt like a personal attack that really affected me. She added, I felt it was too much control over who I am. Absolutely. So the article probably just gets into more details about the case, but that's the most important part. Just the whole part where the supervisor is asking Miss Marshall to tone it down. Like what?
Asking Black people to tone down their hair is like asking us to tone down our skin. What the hell can I do about it? Well, the thing is, what America needs to understand when it comes to Black people in their hair, men, women, black melanated people in their hair, we don't control that shit. We don't control our hair. It's a fact. Our hair controls us. Anybody who has ever dealt with their natural hair knows that you don't control your hair controls you. Our hair has a mind of its own. That's why it grows up towards the sun like gravity, like a crown. We don't have control over that shit.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Okay.
It's just crazy. We got our one of our co-workers, Gerald, here that told us to Google or to go to Google and type in unprofessional hair.
Gerald? That's
Oh, God. I don't know where I seen Gerald from.
Wow.
Wow. Oh my gosh.
I bet dreads are gonna come up.
Oh, they always do dreads.
I assumed it was just gonna be Black people in general.
Locks.
Which this is what I found. All the Google images show ethnic people,
Fact, I got that too.
On the one I got some white people, but they be dyeing
I
their
mean,
hair
it
colors,
it
and they
got
be
some
like,
white people, but it's mainly black people and they're natural, and
but
that's the
this is what
thing.
oh, look at that one.
Like
What's wrong with
yeah,
that?
that looks
This looks
beautiful.
nice. Hold on. This looks nice. How's that?
that's
That
beautiful.
probably took hours to do too. That
That's a
ain't.
That's
updo.
beautiful. Yeah.
That's
But
a
that just
updo. They
shows you
hate it.
the negative connotation that stays with African Americans. Like that, I wonder what hairstyle.
It's the fact that they group our natural hairstyle in with bullshit like this.
Yeah,
Don't group me in with this bull. Don't do that. Like, so you zoom out of this picture, you see right next to it, sis rocking her, they beautiful, natural, and right next to it some bull. Don't group me in with no raggedy ass white lady with a freaking octopus on her head. My natural hair doesn't compare to that. And it's so disrespectful. People just having a lack of education and knowledge on our hair, having a lack of respect and value for our hair. It's just crazy, and everybody always has an opinion on what we do with our hair. It doesn't matter. If I decide not to do my hair today and I just decide to let it be in its natural form with its natural oils, because black people are the only race who have natural oils within their hair, where we don't have to wash our hair every single day for it to stay moisturized. We can go all week without washing it. So black people were naturally have our baby hairs. It's a natural thing for us. We don't have to swoop our hair down and create baby hairs. It's natural. It comes naturally as to what is in our ethnicity. And I hate when so many people have something to say with black women and how we do our hair or what we do to our hair. And I'm a firm believer that our black boys, if they are naturally born with hair, don't cut it. Let that be their decision. We're so uprooted and sexist into believing that boys shouldn't have hair when biblically they should. It is their strength. So you have to give that choice to them. Our hair is so important. It has just uh y'all, I could go on and on about the hair of black people, from black, Mexican, native black people. Our hair is so important and it's beautiful, and it's not like any other out there. It grows long, it goes up, it grows curly, our shrinkage game is phenomenal. I could shrink all the way down to our head and grow all the way out at the same time. You'll never know how long a black woman's hair really is.
You have anything more you want to say?
I have nothing.
All right, y'all.
This shit really did piss me off. Don't group me in with nothing
No,
like that.
to Gadiel's point, I have, and I thought there have been cases where I thought I was a shoo-in for a job or a position, and just not a callback.
It
And I
does.
did the 24-hour callback, 48-hour callback. Not the same, but
It's the fact that it has to be made a law that hair cannot be discriminated against. That's how crazy it is. That laws have to be put into place in order for hair to not be discriminated against. Where black boys have been asked to cut their locks in order to participate in sporting events at schools or graduation.
exactly. And I seen that in a wrestling event.
Yeah, so it's like, mm-mm,
But
you
nah,
should.
we appreciate y'all for rocking with us. If no one else has anything to say, we all clear?
We're clear.
We all clear to go? All right, so just a brief overview.
Yep.
We had G segment with uh oh yeah, the child support, her take on child support. At the end of the day, we just want not only mothers and fathers, but husbands and wives. I mean, we need to start pushing that agenda. Um, then we moved to Tabitha's section with collection of sexual objects. That's just weird. I mean, I'm not totally sure on his intention, but it is a part of our history at the end of the day. The legacy of trauma, trauma affects a lot what we do today, especially if it happens early on in kids, and then we get
Mhm.
no help or no type of counseling with that. We just carry that on and then give it to our children, which is negative in itself. Then we had the potential 10,000 cancel of student loans from Joe Biden. Again, one of the acts that he said he was going to do if he became presidency, or if he became president. So look out for that. And then black hairstyles too extravagant for the workplace. That is wrong. You feel me? It is natural. It is us. You feel me? Suppressing us, or suppressing our hair is suppressing us. Right? You just can't do it. But yes, with that being said, we appreciate y'all for rocking with us. We rocking with y'all. Until next time, we do have our best canceled this week. If you guys are members for that, but stay tuned for that next week, and stay tuned for our podcast Friday. Y'all knock them out there.
Look out for our next workshop.
Oh yes, and subscribe to all of our platforms: Instagram, Facebook, Macam 303.
All of that.
All right.
Y'all knock them out there.
Bye.